Okay, in this topic, we are going to learn on how to calculate angles. So the topic is calculating angles. Then the learning objective is to use the trigonometry ratio to calculate an angle. And the key words we are going to look at is the inverse, okay? But before we embark on this, students should be able to calculate values of trigonometry ratio to a given degree of accuracy. We have done that in our previous lesson, how to calculate the value of a trigonometry ratio to a given degree of accuracy. Okay, now if we are given this, now we are asked to find the angles. What angles has this sign? First of all, let me look at this. Maybe if we are given an angle to be 50 degree, and we are asked to find the sine of 50 degree. We use our calculator to find it. Sine, look at sine 50. That gives us 0.766 approximately. So sine 50 gives us 0.766. Now we may now ask in the other way around, what is the angle that has this, what angle has this sine? What angle has this sine? So if you're asked to find the angle that has this sine 0.766, what we have to do is to find the inverse of this. So assuming we have this now, this will now be the inverse. The inverse is written as this. This inverse raised to the power minus 1. This we call this inverse. We find the inverse of this 766. And for us to use our calculator to find the inverse, like now in my calculator, look at sine. The one written under is the inverse of sine. This is cos. The one written under is the inverse of cos. This is time. Likewise that. So for me to find the inverse of sine, I will go right shift, then sine. You see, now bring out the notation of inverse of sine. I repeat, I'll say it, shift, sine. It brings out the inverse of sine. If I need the inverse of cosine, I will press shift and cos. Give me the inverse. Likewise the time. Okay, for me to find the angle that have this sine, I look shift, sine 0.766. That gives me what? 49.99, which approximately gives me what? 50. See that? So that gives me what? 50 degrees. So this is the angle that has the sine of this. So this simply means we are looking for the inverse of it. Now let's look at this question. It says, what angles have these sines? In this first one, 0.5. What angle have this sine? So what I'm going to do is to find the inverse of this. The inverse, the sine inverse. The sine inverse of 0.5. Sine inverse of 0.5. I'll click shift, sine to bring me the sine inverse. 0.5. Close bracket. We have 30. You see that? So 30 degree. 30 degree is the angle that has the sine. So if you look for sine 30 will give us 0.5. Okay. In this one also, for me to find the angle that give this sine 0.8 this, I will have the inverse, sine inverse of 0.877. So my sine inverse of shift sine, that's sine inverse, 0.877. That gives me what? 61.28. So approximately to the whole number, I can have that to be what? To be 61 degree. So 61 degree gives me this. The same way happen when we talk about the cos. For me to find the angle that has this cos 0.5, what I have to do is to find the cos inverse of 0.5. So what is the cos inverse of 0.5? I will shift cos, gives me the cos inverse 0.5, close bracket, 60. So the cos 60 degree, the cos 60 degree gives us what? 0.5. Get that? Okay. Now also the angle that gives us this, we have cos inverse of 0.64. So cos inverse of 0.64, shift cos, that gives me cos inverse 0.64, close your bracket, equal to, you see 50, approximately to the whole number, 50. So that gives me what? 50 degree. Now, what is a angle that has this tangent? So for me to find this, we have the tan inverse. The angle gives me the tan inverse of 0.6. Tan inverse of 0.6. I'll go shift tan, will give me tan inverse 0.6. Close bracket. We have what? 30.9, approximately 31. So the angle is 31 degree. See that? Okay. Now let me go to the other side. If I have tan 31, tan 31 gives me what? 0.6. You see that? 0.6. Okay. That clearly shake. Okay. Now also this last one, we have the tan inverse of 0.38. The tan inverse of 0.38 gives us what? Shift tan inverse of 0.38. That gives me what? 20.8. That means 21 because it's more than 5. 21 degree. So it gives me what? 21 degree. So that's how we find we calculate the angles. Then in your calculator, if you find something more strange you cannot do, just take a picture of the calculator and then send it to me. I will figure out on how to make use of that, because you have different calculator, different keyword, but all of them work the same thing. Okay. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.